Boom, shaka, laka, boom. You're tuned in to a Monday morning edition of the Free Range Human Show of Choice, your daily dose of reality radio. This is the Clay Edwards Show. I'm, of course, Clay Edwards. How's everybody doing out there in radio land? Got a big show planned today. Got a big show. The first hour going to be a bit of an open forum. The second hour, we have got a Secret Service agent, a retired Secret Service agent, who's going to be on the Mazda of Jackson phone line with us. His name is Tim Vertel. Tim just wrote a book, too, called Protected, Reflections of a Secret Service Agent. Obviously, with the Secret Service being all up in the news here lately due to what happened out there with the attempted assassination of Donald J. Trump, we're going to take a deep dive into what Tim believes may have led to that debacle happening. I'm really looking forward to that. Also, don't forget, in a longer form version, Tim will be at Grip and Grin this Wednesday right there at Mama Hamels. I think doors open at 11. The speaker usually starts around 12, but you can get on in there in the back room and get something to eat and all that good stuff. So Bruce Bartley and his team do a great job of that hosting that event. So you'll be able to hear Tim live in person, meet him, maybe get a signed book, something like that, this Wednesday at Grip and Grin. But before then, he's going to be right here on the Clay Edwards Show here this morning at 8:07 a.m. on the dot. Not 8:05, not 8:06, not 8:08, 8:07. So really looking forward to that. So I was sitting here, speaking of the Mazda Jackson phone line, if you guys want to call in, you're welcome to. 601-879-0002. We got a couple FAFO stories to kick off the show today. Kind of, we used to like to say hashtag good guys win again when the cops busted the bad guys. But how about this time when the business owner bust the bad guys? Here's a story from WLBT.
Capital City, a North Jackson barber shop is broken into, and within 48 hours, the owner tracked down the bad guy and solved the crime himself. 3 News Side's Quentin Smith joins us now with the very latest on this exclusive story. Quentin?
That's right, Howard. The burglar was in and out of the barber shop in a matter of minutes. He got away with thousands of dollars worth of merchandise, but he didn't get to enjoy those items or his freedom for long. Get this, just days after the break-in, police came and arrested the suspect for the crime. Inside the Extraordinaire Company barbershop.
Man, I'm just making sure.
It's business as usual.
He got all that going. Everything he said he got to have.
See, Damian Portis is the owner. He requires all of his clients to book appointments for their haircuts. However, last Friday, there was an unwelcomed person making their way inside the shop.
He didn't know what to grab.
Instead of booking an appointment, he simply broke in.
You could tell he was determined to get in somewhere to get what he wanted or find some valuables, because he did a lot of unnecessary things just to get into the building.
This is exclusive surveillance video footage. You can see a man entering into the shop around 3 o'clock in the morning. Portis says the burglar got in by going through a window. He was inside for about 10 minutes, and in all, the suspect stole roughly $4,000 worth of merchandise.
He was able to get some valuable jewelry, some valuable designer shades. He took a custom pair of shoes and a lot of other jewelry that was not valuable other than sentimental value.
Seeing the damage, Portis then decided to go looking for the bad guy himself.
I basically took the footage that I had. I went to the Oyo Hotel and Bat's Furniture and under the bypass over here by Kroger, where I know that a lot of homeless, drug addicts, etc. hang out.
His investigation led him.
I'm very proud of him for saying Kroger, not Kroger's.
To finding the burglar at the Oyo Hotel, which isn't far from the shop. After finding the burglar, Portis then called police, who came to arrest the suspect. This is him right here, 23-year-old Tyler Skipper. He's now being charged with business burglary.
I'm very much relieved because this is my home, this is my family. I have a lot of people who work here with me, and I want everyone here, everyone in my presence to feel protected.
We got good clothing description of the suspect, good film footage of him. Officer McClain did a great job of gathering all the information and dispersing out amongst our peers, and they was able to locate this guy based on the information she gave him.
So not only did Portis find the suspect who's now behind bars, but he was also able to recover some of the items that were stolen.
Well, paint me shocked. The bad guy in this story is a white guy. Some white guy done come over to Jackson, to God's country, from criminal safe haven of Rankin County to commit crimes. I'm kidding. But funny there. Good job to that business owner. Good job to him. He stood on business, as they like to say. Went over there and he said, you know what? This ain't happening fast enough for me. I am going to go find this guy myself. And you must have really wanted your stuff back to go to the Oyo Hotel. Man, those hotels up and down 55 are absolute disasters. I know I kind of got on a rant about this the other day. I think more deaths occur at gas stations in Jackson, but the most crime and the most infestation and what does the most harm to Jackson are these rundown hotels and these rent by the hour hotels that let people go in there and do God knows what, sex, drugs, rock and roll kind of nonsense. You know, homeless people in and out. I don't know, but I thought that was an interesting story there. Like I said, he effed around. He found out the business owner standing up and fighting back. That's what I've been screaming on this show for 4 years, is the community has got to start fighting back themselves. You know, the mayor and his cronies always like to tell me, positive solutions only. If you ain't got a positive solution, then you don't even need to talk on it. No, I got a positive solution. It's called fight back. Stand up and fight for your right to party. Okay, Clay. Get it under control this morning, Clay. All right, let's see. There was another story of effing around and finding out that I also wanted to hit this morning. I also got I never opened junk mail, but for some reason I chose to this morning. It came in over the weekend. It's a questionnaire, a political questionnaire, and it's about proposed policy revisions about immigration. So that sounds terribly boring, but I promise that we're going to have fun with it. Let's take a call real quick on the Mazda of Jackson phone line. And we got Ryan on the phone. Hey, brother.
Hey, man, I was just listening to that story, and I've seen it on the news, actually. But it was very contradictory at the end. Like, the actual barbershop owner, he's the one that found the guy. But then at the end of the story, JPD says, well, we were able to get look at the film, get a good description, and we found the guy. Now, wait, which one is it? I'm leaning towards the owner of the barbershop was actually finding and doing the police's job.
Oh, that's exactly what happened. And then when he called the cops, they came and did their thing. But it's a shame that 48 hours later, and the news was saying the 48 hours part like it was a short amount of time. I mean, a quick time. I'm sorry. Yeah, well, the same thing. Anyway, I just thought, well, that's 2 whole days. I mean, you kind of look at the footage. I'm just going to be honest here. When you see a white guy committing crimes like that in Jackson, it's usually a homeless dude.
Yeah.
And he was smart. He knew exactly where the homeless were hanging out at, and boom, went and got him. I love it for the citizen because that's my whole rant. Is I want to see citizens start fighting back, start snitching on these folks in your neighborhoods that are committing these crimes. Stand up and fight back. So that was cool with me. The only thing that could have been a better ending is if he had to eliminate him and just community.
Hey man,
community
I
service.
agree too, man.
That would have been the happy ending, a community service killing.
Yeah, man. Yeah, one less person out here doing crimes, man. I'm gonna listen to the show, man. Thanks for taking my call.
Appreciate it, Ryan, as always.
Oh yeah.
Good call there from Ryan. Yeah, look, man, we need less of this. We got to make the castle doctrine great again. That's going to be my next shirt. Make the castle doctrine great again. Let's see here. I'm going to tell a story real quick. This is kind of effing around and finding out. It's not the news story I was going to tell. We'll get to that. Like I said, we got an hour or so to go this morning of just me running my mouth before we have our interview at the top of the 8 o'clock hour. We were out Saturday night. I'm not going to say where, but I'll say it was in Ridgeland. We were sitting on a patio somewhere and got to looking next door in this other restaurant parking lot. And there's these, we didn't know at the time they were kids or whatever they are, these guys pointing guns at each other. One guy makes another guy get down on his knees. He puts the gun to the back of his head. We're 200 feet away-ish. So we don't know what's going on. All we're seeing over here is, what the hell is happening? Are we about to catch gunfire over here? I call the cops. I'm like, 911? There's some kids pointing guns at each other, or people pointing guns at each other. I said, I feel like I'm in Jackson. Anyway, within 30 seconds, RPD was there, and it was established that these guys were playing. They had BB guns and all that, and that's fine and good. What I have a problem with is just trying to explain to these kids, and it was like 4 or 5 little, younger black guys. When Johnny, whoever pulls up, some complete stranger or somebody over at the other bar that don't know, somebody, a good guy with a gun, that's how you get killed out here at nighttime in front of a business, pointing guns at each other. That's why when you get killed, the mama going to run out, my baby didn't do nothing. And of course, it'd be all over the news. The cops pull up and have to shoot one of those guys or something because they got their gun. Then kind of find out you out here in a parking lot playing with toy guns in this environment that we live in currently. Bad situation. I posted the video. I chose to take it down because I didn't want it to negatively reflect upon any of the businesses in that area because they didn't have nothing to do with it. But just people being idiots. People being absolute idiots. I mean, the people over there that were on the patio where I was, were getting scared. They're like, what in the hell is going on over there? And like I said, Ridgeland police, kudos to them. I mean, maybe 30 seconds before they were there. So, like I said, it's a situation that could have ended really, really badly. Whether it's a cop pulls up and has to shoot one of them because they're pointing guns at each other, or whether it's, some customer pulls in, freaks out, and, tries to play, Johnny Badass and ends up shooting one of them. Just, it could have gone a million different ways. And we'd be having a whole different story this morning. So let's see here. Oh, yeah, by the way, the Guns and Gear text line, 769-241-1944. 769-241-1944. Let's see here. Shout out to Teddy and the boiled peanuts, too. Told y'all they were going to be on point. Your boy got some of the Cajun ones. So, I just got an update from Fred. Fred said those Cajun peanuts were the bomb. So if you want some good boiled peanuts from Teddy McRaney, holler at him on the weekends, and he'll get you some. I think he'll be delivering on Sundays, but don't quote me on that. Let's see here. Let's take a break. This is the Clay Edwards Show. When we come back, we've got a brand new partner here on the Clay Edwards Show. I want to welcome back to the show. So we'll tell you about them and tell you what's for lunch today at all of our great food sponsors. This is the Clay Edwards Show. We'll be right back. Welcome back into the Clay Edwards Show here live on WYAB. I told you we were going to tell you about a returning partner here to the show. We got Martin's back on as a partner here. I want to welcome Joseph and his team back. You got three great opportunities to do business with Martin's. First, you got the all-new Livingston, Martin's at Livingston. And, of course, you have the legendary Mothership location right there in downtown Jackson. You can get the same plate lunches. The menus are identical. The plate lunches are the same every day. Today's they're the same at each location. Today's Blue Plate special of the day is fried or grilled pork chops with your choice of sides. So get on to Martin's today, whether you're in Madison County or whether you are in Jackson. They got one great location or two great locations for you. Also, up at the Madison location or Livingston, they have Martin's Market also, which is kind of an old school high end gas station. It's they'll pump your gas for you, and they also have all kind of great stuff in there. I mean, it's almost like walking into a hardware store. I don't know any other way to say it. Anyway, tons of great stuff. They got breakfast, sausage and biscuits, chicken biscuits, all made from scratch, fresh every morning. They got a lot of stuff out there because, there's no grocery stores out there, so they're trying to stock stuff to be kind of a mini grocery store. I grew up in a store like that. My dad owned one on Lynch Street. It wasn't a gas station, but it was like a totem store. And you kind of kept all that kind of stuff, sugar and whatever else you needed. So Martin's Market, if you're out that way, you don't feel like going to the grocery store, swing by there. They may just have what you need. And, of course, they're open 7 days a week, 11 a.m. I think they close a little earlier in Madison. They had to close at midnight, if my memory serves, but they're still open late. And, of course, downtown open until 2 a.m. every day, 11 a.m. to 2 a.m. Man, those are tough hours right there. But we're going to be doing some live remotes and stuff out at Martin's, too, so be on the lookout for all that. There'll be internet-only live remotes. They won't stream on the radio, but we're going to start doing some new things here. So Patrick Bet-David posted a tweet yesterday. Look, guys, I'll be the one to say I don't know a whole lot about how the stock market works. I've never dabbled in the stock market. I understand when it's good and when it's bad. I get the gist of all of it. A lot of people are predicting that the stock market could crash today or this week. But ironically, all these military stocks, these combat companies, weapons companies, whatever, coincidentally, their stocks are on the rise. I guess it looks like we're getting ready to go to war. So anyway, I'm gonna read Patrick Bet-David's tweet here. Keep in mind, this was yesterday. So it's a day old at this point. He says, brace for impact. Tomorrow, opening of the markets will reveal a ton. A few strange events taking place causing concern amongst investors. One, rumors of an underground bunker in Jerusalem where senior leaders can remain for an extended period of time during a war has been prepared by the Shin Bet Company Services, and it is fully operational. The Walla news site reported on Sunday amid fears of attacks on Israel from Hezbollah and Iran. So they've got a underground bunker there. That's always good. Hitler had an underground bunker. Said the bunker was reportedly built almost 20 years ago, can sustain hits from a range of existing weaponry, has command and control capabilities, and is connected to the Defense Ministry headquarters in Tel Aviv, the report said. And like I said, that's just important because that's them preparing for war. They know they're about to go to war with Iran. Number two, the Japan stock market, the Nikkei 225, is set to post its largest two-day drop in history, larger than the Black Monday crash of 1987. Oof. Bitcoin is down 22% in the last week and went down just 10% yesterday in and of itself. Ethereum is down 31% for the week, a 21% drop in 1 day alone. 4, some trends showing the increased purchase of military stocks underway. I saw somebody post a screenshot of the market earlier, and those are definitely spiking. He says this isn't fully verified, but you can see some patterns. Talks about the Fed Reserve considering lowering rates 0.5 point next month to stabilize the massive potential stock market loss in August. 6, Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway dumped $75.5 billion of stocks and halves Apple stake. And then so now they're sitting at a record cash pile of $276.9 billion. What does it mean? Possibly nothing. Crap's about to hit the fan. A possible World War III is imminent, and America may be forced to get involved with Iran-Israel if Hamas attacks, or if Iran attacks. He used the Iranian flag there. I had to see which one it was. Anyway, it says the overdue recession is finally here. Global recession after all the printing of the money is here. Either way, I follow a basic rule. I lean 51% on the future looking bright and 49% on only the paranoid survive. When smart people look at trends, this is me talking, not reading. When people who are smarter than you explain trends to you, and you kind of see what's going on, it's like none of this stuff is happening because we're in a good situation. I've somehow converted into an anti-war hippie apparently, but the last thing I want to do is see us crank up the military-industrial complex and have to go fight anywhere. These politicians, the war hawks, they're so determined to go to war. They're so determined to send our women and children, our men and children. I'm not men and children. Our fighting men and women is what I'm trying to say. They're so determined to send them to war to die, so they can continue to make these military industrial businesses billions and billions of dollars. Just complete trash. Let's take a call here on the Mazda of Jackson phone line this morning. Hey, Derek, you on there?
Hey, buddy, how you doing? You said war hawks. You kind of had that terminology wrong. They're chicken hawks, like Jesse Ventura said. When the time came to fight, they was chicken. But now when they want somebody else to fight, they're hawks. So they're actually chicken hawks.
Yeah, that makes just as much sense. I like that.
Yeah, I didn't coin that when Jesse Ventura did. He said that about guys like Bill O'Reilly and Sean Hannity, and he made Brian Kilmeade walk off the set when he told him he was a chicken hawk. He said, "Have you signed up yet?" He said, "What? I can't." He said, "I can't advocate for our troops because I'm not one." He said, "No." He said, "It seems like I want us to go fight everybody, but yeah, you ain't signing up." He said, "Go sign up." He said, "Put up a shut up," and he walked off the set of the Fox, the Fox News set. So, but he called all them Fox guys chicken hawks. He said because he said if I look at your background, you came up during a war where you could have fought, whether it was the Gulf War or Vietnam or the Second Gulf War or what. He said, so when the time came to fight, you were chickens. You wouldn't know where to be found. But now that you're in a position to send somebody else's child to go fight, you're a hawk. So, yeah, they're chicken hawks.
I like it, brother. Have a good day, Derek. Thank you, man.
Hey, yes, sir. You too.
Good call from Derek there. Makes a great point. There are chicken hawks. That's it, man. They want to send your children or you young men and women out there that are listening who are active military. These people rarely have any skin in the game, but they want to put all yours in the game. I fear one of the ways they'll continue to terrorize this country is, because the Democrats are 100% at war with America and the deep state in general. This is Republicans too. But, another way that you weaken a country is you send all of its military-age men to a war to die. And that's what I'm afraid they're going to do. They're going to send all of our strong, young, military-aged men, into sure death. Then again, you weaken the country and you end up like Canada. You end up like all the young men are low testosterone Justin Trudeau's. You send all of our good fighting men, high testosterone, best physical condition, smartest soldiers. You send them all to a sandbox to die. And again, what does that leave America with? I mean, you got a bunch of 40-something-year-olds who, we ain't scared. I don't know if you want a bunch of 40 and 50-year-olds being your last line of defense or first line of defense. All right. This is the Clay Edwards Show. We will be right back. When we come back, I'm going to read this immigration questionnaire that I got. We'll go over that one together. The Mazda Jackson phone line is 601-879-0002. The Guns and Gear text line 769-241-1944. We'll get to some of your texts too when we get back. Welcome back into the Clay Edwards Show. Guys, Stonington Farm, grass-fed, grass-finished beef, mRNA-free, steroid-free, and antibiotic-free. You can order yours today at StoningtonFarm.com. That's Stonington with 2 N's. They come up here once a month and deliver orders, or you can get it shipped to you. Again, StoningtonFarm.com. Try some of that beef. I mean, yes, well, it's all beef. Try some of that hamburger meat. That's what I'm trying to say. Of course, the steaks are great as well. I had lunch with a crew of people the other day, and we were talking about grass-fed beef, and I learned a lot about it from a buddy of mine, Kyle, that showed up for our little lunch party Friday at McBee's. Him and his family raise cattle and do the cow stuff. Basically do the same thing, but just differently. But I just learned about the process a little bit and was really, really interested in it. It made me appreciate my Stonington Farm beef even more after having that conversation with him. But check it out, man. You will not be disappointed. Everybody I've turned on to Stonington Farm beef orders it every time. And they're telling their friends about it, and they're telling their friends. And that's how you build business. StoningtonFarm.com. Let's read a couple Guns and Gear text real quick. Then I'm going to get to this survey that I got that I got hard mailed to me. You know, man, you ever just thought about it? How much money gets wasted on junk mail every year? I mean, there's an absolute insane amount of junk mail. Let's take a call real quick. Hey, you're on there.
Hey, how you doing, man?
Good.
Hey, so you got to think about it. Most of the 40 and 50-year-olds that are here are the ones that just got home from Iraq and Afghanistan not too long ago. So let them go on and send the youngsters over there and get some experience and let us do some more ass kicking again.
All right.
Hey, another thing too, though, you got to think about the only reason that they're trying to go to war right now is because the Democrats are about to lose the power. And the only way they can keep the power is if they get us into some big world war.
Oh, yeah. And they got to satisfy their masters, over the military-industrial complex, too. You get
if Israel has a state, then, Jesus can return. But if they can keep as much chaos in that area, then they can try to keep Jesus at bay as much as possible. It's kind of dumb,
100%. We'll see how it all. What do you think's going to happen over there? We're going to war?
I don't know. I got to do some more research on that one. I'm just kind of waking up this morning. I heard that one, and I'm like, I got to do some research on that one.
I'll be the first to tell you, international conflicts is not my thing necessarily. I mean, I loosely keep up with it from a 30,000-foot view. Obviously I prefer talking about statewide and local stuff a little bit more, or just American-based stuff. But it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out for sure, because these fools have never met a war they didn't want to send our young men to fight in.
Yeah, and that's what sucks.
100%.
And then they're trying to cause problems here in our own backyard, which is even,
That's what they love to do, man.
You worry about fixing our problems at home and fix our problems in our cities and our schools and, our streets and stuff like that before we worry about trying to tell everybody else how to operate.
Well, I used to get aggravated when I'd go to church and stuff and people would go on these missionary trips to these third world countries. I'm like, there's a third world country in your backyard. I can save you there.
It really is.
I can save you there, fair. Why don't we? But somebody set me down though and told me something that really, really made sense, because I was kind of fired up about that for a long time. Why are we going and taking care of them? We can take care of here. There's people here that need help. Well, one of the biggest difference in say, pick some third world country, they go to Guatemala, versus Jackson. If the people in Guatemala won't help, the people in Guatemala didn't ask for what's going on with them. The people in Jackson, Mississippi,
too, a lot of it,
Yeah, the people in Jackson, Mississippi, have voted their way right into this, and they don't want help. They think they're owed help. Is the big difference. They're ungrateful.
Yeah, we're owed this, you just give it to us instead of letting us work for it.
Yep. All right, brother. I'm gonna jump off here, man.
Though, man. California is bad about that, and I think that's kind of rolled around the rest of our country.
I agree, brother. All right, man, I'm going to jump off.
All right, man, you have a good one.
Yeah, that used to be a real thorn in my side, thinking about all these people going, these churches are raising money for it. And they can do whatever they want with their money. It is what it is. People donate it, and that's what it goes to. I mean, no real complaints. I just always like, well, why don't you go help in Jackson? You know, that people there need help. And this is right on, kind of right before I started the whole Save Jackson page, when I had this thought process. And yeah, I learned real quick that the people in Jackson don't want help. They don't want the problem fixed. If the problem ever gets fixed, it's one less excuse they have. So I realized real quick that that's exactly what's going on there. All right, Guns and Gear text line. Unknown texter. Speaking of Jackson, is there an ETA on when those federal indictments potentially involving Owens and Chokwe are going to be unsealed? I'm beginning to get a little anxious over here. But me and you both. I was talking about that over the weekend because I saw there was a big federal drug bust in Jackson.
A major development involved.
Sorry, forgot that was up still. I forgot there was a big major drug bust over the weekend in Jackson, or maybe late last week. Like, I think it was 7 federal indictments. I was like, is this it? Is this the one? And it ended up not being, but it's like this waiting on all those indictments to get served, unsealed, whatever. Hopefully that happens here in the next immediate future. I've heard sometime this month. You know, what they're doing, I don't know, but it's like waiting. It's like having the Titanic boat anchor tied around the neck of this show. Because y'all know it'll be the biggest show we've ever done when that happens. I mean, y'all won't be able to tell me nothing. I'm going to be dancing in the streets doing a perp walk with them as they walk by in their orange jumpsuits. Of course, you know, they'll never give us that photo. But I sure would love to see a mugshot. If Chokwe gets arrested, should we sell a shirt with his mugshot on it? Like the Donald Trump mugshot? Oh, that'd be glorious, wouldn't it? Angelique Lee with a shirt with her mugshot, allegedly. Oh, man. I met some folks yesterday out at Shuckers. They told me it was Aaron Banks' cousin. I said, man, you heard anything? He's like, no, they ain't told me nothing. All right. More Guns and Gear text here real quick, as I'm just kind of rambling this morning. Unknown texter. We'll go to war as soon as there's a terrorist attack here. That's coming for sure. Man, that is a great point. That is an absolutely great point. They're going to need something to get Americans behind this. It's one of the Ukraine war has lost so much of its steam. It's hard. A lot of Americans aren't really behind that anymore. You know, it's like, well, how does that affect us? But man, you blow up an Applebee's or something here, some type of terrorist attack, and then everybody turns into USA, USA. You know, you get people fired up a little bit more. It's an easier sell to go to war to the general public once we've been attacked. So I fully see that. They're having a hard time selling us on these wars nowadays. I mean, now Democrats love a war, and I'm just talking about you know, people on Twitter, stuff like that. They love a good war. I never thought I'd see anything like it. When did Democrats turn into the pro-war people and Republicans, or at least America First, turned into no wars? We've had a bit of a pivot there, hadn't we? That's always remember back the beginning of that Ukraine war. All y'all changed your profile pictures to the Ukraine flag. You know, not even once did I do that. Not even once. I didn't get the jab. I didn't stand for. I didn't stand with Ukraine. I didn't vote for Obama. Not even once. So, man, you know, Donald Trump said we were going to do so much winning that we'd get tired of winning. I feel like I've been right a lot. I feel like my spidey senses have been right a whole lot. Let's back here to the text machine. The Gunziger text line, by the way, is 769-241-1944. Teddy says a snitching contest is what's happening right now. That's it. Look, my money on the person that snitched the most, it has to be Angelique Lee. Allegedly, of course. I don't know. Chokwe, seems like he got some snitch in him too. Blake says, make a shirt with Chalkline's mugshot with the wasted from Grand Theft Auto cover on his face. Oh, yes. Unknown texture. Someone needs to strike up an NIL deal with Chokwe. His face may become real valuable when he gets arrested. Yeah, look, man, I was already just going to work one up and just have a mugshot of him done, like an artist version, Photoshop, whatever. But if we can get the real mugshot, maybe we can get him wearing an FAFO shirt that day. I'm always hoping if I ever get arrested again, I had to take a mugshot. I pray that I have on one of my FAFO shirts when I do it. I might make a shirt of me wearing my shirt getting arrested. That seems like a good one. I got a picture of me from a night in New Orleans where I've been put in handcuffs and set down on the ground in front of the NOPD prisoner transport van. Maybe I put that on a shirt. That was a good night. That was a fun night. I don't think I can tell those stories on the radio. Hey, by the way, good morning to all the young kids out there in the cars with their parents this morning. I know school started back officially, to Thursday, something like that. So good morning back to having some kids in the vehicle during the first hour of the show. We will definitely try to watch our language and the things we talk about in hour one and kind of have some respect for the parents and their kids there. Unlike Drag Queen Story Time, we don't want to be responsible for talking about certain things when people have kids in the car. There's conversations that I think need to be between the parents and their kids, not between radio guy getting kind of liberal with his words and the kids. So we'll be respectful of that. You have my promise, parents, that we'll avoid certain topics during the first hour of the show. Don't forget, coming up here at the top of hour 2, we got a Secret Service agent, Tim Verrett. I think I'm saying that name correct. Will be here with us. He just wrote a book called Protected. Tim Vertel. Just wrote a book called Protected, Reflections of a Secret Service Agent. We're going to talk to him about what went wrong in Pennsylvania that day when they attempted to assassinate Donald J. Trump. He'll be here at 8:07 a.m. We're going to take a break, come back, land the plane for hour 1. This is the Clay Edwards Show. Welcome back into the Clay Edwards Show. Well, guys, I ran out of time on trying to get to read this questionnaire about immigration. We'll get to it in the second half of the second hour after our interview with retired Secret Service agent Tim Vertel. Going to be a great story, great interview there here in just a few minutes. And when we get back here at 8:07 a.m., let's see, I got time to read a text or two real quick, just kind of in the plane here. Land the plane. Roger says, Chokwe does not snitch. He points the finger and blames everyone for his mistakes. That he does. I listened to a Joe Rogan episode Friday or Saturday. He interviewed a guy that wrote a book about Hitler and all the drug use. Sometimes I really do wonder about Chokwe and his drug use. We'll be back. Alleged. Boom goes the dynamite. It's hour 2 of the Clay Edwards Show here on 103.9 FM, WYAB. This segment brought to you by our friends over at Pure Air Consultants. For over 40 years, Pure Air Consultants has been delivering exceptional cooling systems to Central Mississippi. They want to remind you that consistent expert maintenance on your system improves your indoor air quality significantly. It also helps your system operate. It will also help your system operations improve their efficiency by 20 to 40%, have an increased useful life, and have fewer failures. Be sure to check out the residential HVAC maintenance plan that Pure Air Consultants proudly offers. If you have any questions or you'd like to sign up, contact them today at mypureairconsultants.com. That's mypureairconsultants.com. Ream, a new degree of comfort. All right, on the Mazda of Jackson phone line, we have retired Secret Service agent Tim Viertel. Tim, you there, brother?
Yes, I am. Good morning, Clay.
Oh, man, good morning. Thank you for getting up and coming on the show and talking to the audience this morning. Tim will be speaking this Wednesday at Mama Hamill's for Grip and Grin. And Bruce had reached out to me and told me about the guest he had. I said, well, I'd like to have that guy on my show. So I got Tim's contact information from Bruce. I want to thank Bruce for kind of middleman in this deal. Tim, how long has your book been out?
It's been out about a year, Clay. It's done pretty well. It's not something I promote a whole lot, but actually my motivation for writing it was for my grandchildren and great-grandchildren. And, if I was to describe the book, I'd say it's not a tell-all book at all. What it is just it's 50 stories from my career. And then each one of those stories, I have a spiritual application with it. But anyway, it's doing well. It's I did write it to be a bestseller, but it's actually doing pretty well.
It's interesting. There's a lot of, at least in my lifetime, probably yours, there's a lot of focus on the Secret Service right now. So it's a good time to have a book out with reflections of it. I'm guessing people are interested in what's going on with the Secret Service and hearing more stories and learning about the Secret Service after all the, basically post-Trump assassination attempt.
Right. Well, this book is not divisive at all. I mean, it's a story of my dealings with President Reagan, and I was at the White House with the Clintons. I actually assigned to First Lady Hillary Clinton for just over 2 years. But it's not a tell-all book. It's not something that's divisive. I think we got way too much of that in the nation today. So. But it's really a story. You get a good feel for what a Secret Service agent does in the book, and you will see it's not just a regular federal law enforcement job. We do a lot of things, and it's a tough job. But and quite honestly, I was ready to retire when I retired, but. I look back on that career and I'm just absolutely amazed at some of the things I was able to experience.
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, it's like I was telling you, I have a cousin who was also about the same age as you, and I've heard some wilder stories, I mean, within reason, but it's just, I tell you, it's a small fraternity compared to other government agencies. That's why I was hoping you may know him, but you're like, well, there's several thousand of us, so it's not as likely. I was like, well, there's that.
Yeah.
So, well, look, I mean, I'm interested. I'm gonna grab a copy of that book because I would love to hear some of those stories. Oh, what will you be talking about Wednesday at Grip and Grin? I think you had said maybe something along the lines of kind of how the Secret Service got to this point where it's at was going to be the topic.
Yeah, well, actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the beginning of the Secret Service. We're a very old agency. In fact, we're the first federal law enforcement agency there was, and just sort of bring the group from where we were way back in the 1800s all the way up to where we are now, and maybe explain some of the issues, the root issues the Secret Service is having today, why they're having those issues, and the fact that the Secret Service, quite honestly, has lost its identity, and they need to get that. They need to get that back. So over the last 10 years, I think we've had 5 directors. Every time Secret Service does something wrong, they call the director in, they yell at him for a while, they send him back to his agency, and there's really no changes being made. There needs to be some big changes made in the agency, and that needs to be brought about by Congress, allowing the agency to be what the agency's supposed to be. And I think if you do a few of those things, you will see the agency come back to an elite status over a period of time. But calling the director in, yelling at him for a while, and then the next one comes in, that's sort of the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting different results. And I think we're at that point now, and there needs to be some drastic changes. So
what would you...
I'll be presenting that, and then talk maybe about some of those changes that need to be made.
That was going to be my next question. Can you give us one or two changes that you would make here on the show?
9/11 had a huge impact on the Secret Service. Before that, we had a clearly defined investigative mission. We had a clearly defined protective mission. 9/11 hit. It was just sort of a knee-jerk reaction. The presidential detail, tripled in size. I think the vice president detail doubled in size. And then the Congress and the president just kept adding things to our plate. We were all of a sudden protecting a lot of the president's staff. And so that hit us hard. But back then, we were under the Treasury Department, and we had three sister agencies there with the Legacy Customs Agency, the ATF, and actually IRS also. And they were always there to back us up. They would, when we get in a real jam, when we were, let's say, the United Nations, we'd have 100 heads of state coming in that we were responsible for protecting. We could always reach out to our sister agents, and they would jump in there and help us. They were, trained by us, knew what our responsibilities were. But then, after 9/11, after 9/11, I think we did a couple Super Bowls. We were responsible for protection of a couple of Super Bowls. We were doing the World Series. So we really lost our way a little bit at that time. But really, where we really lost our identity was in 2003 when they took us and they dumped us into the Department of Homeland Security with 22 other agencies, most of which you've never heard of. And there was a reason they did that, but it was a new department. The Secret Service had always been respected, so I really think the department wanted the Secret Service in that department to bring some credibility to the department. And but when they did that, we really began to lose our way at that point. So these are some issues that started 20 years back. I retired in 2008. Several of the strong leadership we had in Secret Service retired at the same time because we sort of saw this coming, and it was really sad for us. It really was. But this has been a long time coming. It's not something that's happened overnight.
No, it's usually not. It's a domino effect of sorts, and once they start falling, you inevitably you're going to hit a roadblock like we did in Pennsylvania that day. I know I don't have you, but for a few minutes, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask how does what happened in Pennsylvania that day happen? How does that rooftop get left? I mean, I know you weren't there. I'm just asking your opinion. How does that rooftop get left unchecked? How was Trump even allowed to go on stage when they knew there was a threat in the area? It just seems like a catastrophic failure on every level.
Yeah. Well, I'm like you said, I was not there, but I can speak a little towards the way the Secret Service operates. People are asking, well, why in the world? It was 150 yards away. Why in the world was not that roof not within the secure perimeter? You got to understand, first of all, that there are different levels of security. The president, the vice president, they're going to have the top level of security. for a site like that, you wouldn't believe the amount of manpower and what has to go into just doing that site. You know, you would have well over 100 agents and technical security people, and you know, it's a huge thing to do a site like that. President Trump is a former president, and he's a candidate, so they would lessen that. They cannot provide the same amount of security for a former president and a candidate as they can for the president. The president is absolutely the priority. So as I looked at that site, 150 yards away, you know, if I was doing that site, unless there was some intelligence that's telling me, hey, we're going to have a problem here, that building would not have been inside my secure perimeter either. But you would have had to make sure that building was secured. And that's where it gets a little bit hazy. After this incident occurred, I got a lot of phone calls, text messages, and that type of thing asking, you know, and I basically said, you know what, I'm not even going to watch the news for about 4 or 5 days until the smoke clears a little bit, and we can maybe start getting to the real heart of what took place. And quite honestly, I'm going to have to go for the time being until something else changes my mind. I'm going to have to go with the testimony of the Pennsylvania State Police Commissioner before Congress. And I'm going to do that for 2 reasons. Number one, the Pennsylvania State Police don't really have a dog in this fight. And number two, he testified before Congress under oath. But what he is telling us was, yes, that rooftop was assigned to the local police department to watch. They had a tactical unit up there. Now, as far as the communication between the Secret Service and that tactical unit, I don't know. There are probably failures there or whatever. The fact is the Secret Service is responsible for that, even if it's local police officers. But according to the testimony of the State Police Commissioner, they said that these officers saw Crooks, who at the time was considered a suspicious person. They saw him sitting down there at the picnic table, and they both left their post to go find him. And they couldn't find him. They looked around for a while, and it was at that time that Crooks had crawled up on the roof. And so the responsibility still lies with the Secret Service. The police, you got to understand, are trained to respond. They don't understand the fact of holding a post in spite of, you know, something going on elsewhere. Their instinct is to respond to that. And according to the state police, that's what happened. It was up to the Secret Service to tell them the mission. You have got to stay and watch that roof no matter what. And it's sort of like defense in football. I mean, everybody's got their responsibility. You've got to hold your responsibility and depend on your teammates to take care of their responsibility. So anyway, according to this testimony from the state commissioner, that post was abandoned when they went out to look for Crooks. Now, keep in mind, at that time, he was considered a suspicious person. Every campaign event, you will find people who are just, they're a little suspicious. There's something a little off with them. So we call those lookouts. These are people we're going to sort of watch for and to keep a close eye on. And at that time, that's what Crooks was. He was what we would have considered a lookout.
And that
just
and,
watch
and
this
that
guy,
wouldn't
keep an eye on.
And that wouldn't keep the show from going on. You know, it's like let's keep eyes on suspicious people, and if the president or Trump or whoever's going to speak, they would still be allowed to speak. You know, barring any kind of
They
crazy.
Would. They would, because at any given event, you may have 2 or 3 different people that, they're just a little off. We're not real sure what's going on with them, but we're going to keep an eye on them.
Got it. Let me ask you.
So,
okay, I'm sorry.
My understanding, though, is that for some reason the Secret Service, or at least they're claiming at this point, they never got any kind of notification of this individual. Now, that notification is supposed to take place through our command post. The command post is set up where you'll have probably 2 senior Secret Service agents in there. They are manning the 6 radio frequencies for the Secret Service. Sitting next to them, you have a state police supervisor. He's manning the state police frequency. Next to him will be the local police frequency. Next to him will be the fire department. So that is where you have the intersection of communications. There's too much going on all these radios for everyone to be on the same frequency. So the intersection of communication has to take place in the command post. So when the Butler Police Department say they see something, that's to be reported over their radio to the Butler officer in the command post, and at that point he tells the state police, the secrets, hey, this is what we got going on over here. So at some point that sounds to me like it broke down. Like I said, we're going to have to wait until all the facts come out. Here's the deal with the Secret Service frequencies; those things are recorded, so you're going to have a transcript of exactly who said what, when, and you'll have a pretty clear picture there of what took place. But that's just unfortunately going to take time for that to come out.
Yeah, that was my next question, too. So you actually got it for me there, was the communication breakdown. It seems like that's something that could easily be taken care of, having an open line of communication, or I guess the state or local police radio it to the command center. The command center pushes it upstream to Secret Service. It seems like there was communication breakdown there somewhere. So,
yes. The second thing, and I get the other question about this, the counter sniper for the Secret Service should have had a radio and be in radio contact with the Butler tactical unit. They should have been talking back and forth. They have basically the same mission, so they should be talking directly to each other. But we'll see, like I said, when it all comes out, when transcripts come out, and then that type of thing, exactly where the failure was.
Tim, I got one more question for you here. The current head of the Secret Service, I guess he's the interim. What are your thoughts on him? I guess they're saying that he was responsible for cutting back some of Trump's security, stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't know him. I don't know anything about him. I will say this: when you are short 700 agents in the agency, you run out of bodies really quick. I don't think people understand what type of a job the Secret Service is. These people, especially during a campaign year, they're assigned all the way around the country. But when the president or Trump or someone is going to a campaign rally, they assign a lot of these what we call post-standers from around the country, and they fly in for that event. Now, during a campaign year, these people, they may be traveling 40 or 50% of the time. And I don't know if you've traveled lately, but just getting through security and the way airlines are just cramming people on planes, they're canceling flights and all of that. Just the job of getting there is stressful. And what happens with these guys is they're brought in the night before, they're given a briefing, they probably go on post early the next morning when all the sweeps start. They work for 8-9 hours, and then they have a flight to catch to the next city. And they go through all of that again. And it's just day after day after day of this. And quite honestly, especially with the agency being so short on agents, these guys, they're worn out, absolutely worn out. And so that's some of the changes that have to be made. They begin to ask themselves, why should I work for this agency when I can go to another federal law enforcement agency, make the same money, work 9 to 5, and be at home every night, and have off weekends? So that's where some of the changes have to take place. It's not your normal federal law enforcement career.
No, it's definitely unique.
It's a tough job. I remember when I used to interview these new applicants as they would come through, I would sit there and try to talk them out of it. I would tell them how hard it was, how much they were going to travel. You think it's glamorous running next to the president's limo, but for every one of those agents you see, there's 10 who've been standing in a stairwell all night or standing in front of a door in a hotel all night long. And I just lay it out there for them. Many of those applicants would walk out. I'd never hear from them again. There were others that the more I talked about how tough it was, the more they wanted the job. Those were the people that we would hire. They were mission-driven. They weren't saying, it might be fun to be a Secret Service agent for a few years, see how that goes. No, these people were mission-driven, and those ended up being your most successful agents, and they would stick with you through thick and thin. And I'm not sure whether that's being done today. I mean, when you're so short on manpower, a lot of times you sugarcoat the initial interview, telling them what a wonderful job it is. As a matter of fact, to go to the Secret Service website and look at the photos they have there. And I mean, it's, people, the well-dressed agents standing out in front of the White House or running next to the limo and such as that. That is a very small part of the job. And I'm not sure that those being hired today are being told that.
Tim, I got one last question here, and we're going to have to kind of wrap it up. But I just had a curiosity. I was sitting here talking about the numbers, and you may not be able to tell me the exact number. They may not ever release that kind of information. But how many agents would you say are put with somebody like a Trump during a campaign stop? Or I guess more so, how many are dispatched out when the actual president of Joe Biden right now is doing an event? Could it be in the hundreds of manpower?
Well, it differs between them, and I'm sure they have, now that we've had this attempt on Trump's detail has really been bumped up a lot. But yes, it would be up in the hundreds. You got to think about the fact you got to bring in these agents to stand post. You got others who are in charge of technical security. You've got a lot of ballistic steel that has to be brought in and set up. Then if you're dealing with the president, you've got audio countermeasures you got to deal with. If he's staying in a hotel room overnight, that hotel room has to be completely swept. If he's staying in a hotel room overnight and there's some line of sight issues, you got to bring in ballistic glass for that. So I don't think people understand how much effort goes into just moving the president from point A to point B. And then you multiply that. I think I went to the New York Times and saw that back in, I think it was May, they had between Trump, Biden, and Harris, you had 120 stops. Think about that, 120 stops, and you're having to do this for every site.
Man. So
you run out of manpower really, really quick, especially when you're short on people.
Tim, thank you so much for joining us this morning. I could sit here and talk about this stuff for hours. Tim will be live at Grip and Grin at Mama Hamill's this Wednesday. I think starts at noon. Tim Vertel. And y'all check out his book on Amazon. It's called Protected, Reflections of a Secret Service Agent. Tim, thank you so much this morning for taking time with us.
Thank you, Clay. Appreciate you having me.
Yes, sir. See you Wednesday. All right, let's take a break. We're going to have a very short set right here because I ran through a whole advertising break when we had our guest on the phone there. But sometimes you just got a good conversation going. You got to go with the hot hand. And we'll make it back up here in just a minute. But I want to thank Tim for coming on the show. His name's Tim Vertel, and you can see him again this Wednesday at Grip and Grin. That's really turned into a good event there. Let's see here. Get some rapid reaction to the text. One person says he was a little bit of an apologist, but still very interesting. Yeah, look, and with him having retired in 2008, and I'm not going to get a guy on here and immediately try to get him to bash the agency, but I wanted to hear his perspective on how stuff like that can happen and kind of paint a picture of what all goes into these Secret Service stuff, and protecting these presidents and whatnot. I mean, that's interesting. I was just kind of spitballing there when I said, could it be up to 100 agents on one job or one event? And he said, yeah. I was like, that's a lot. I mean, just think about the logistics of that. That's a nightmare. And, everything he said makes sense, and it helps you understand real quick how there could have been a failure. You get somebody who's burnt out. And look, for the sake of this conversation, I know that I think there was a plot and all that. There's Clay Edwards, that's what he thinks, that there was indeed a plot. I still don't think that Crooks was necessarily involved in that. I think you create the environment where stuff like that can happen, and then when it does, it's like, oopsie, we made a mistake-see. It's a lot easier to cover up being stupid than it is having a plot or a conspiracy, an actual plan. So, I don't know. Interesting stuff there. I've got a cousin who was a Secret Service agent 25 years. He retired from the Secret Service. He was at the White House with Reagan and Bush Sr. Maybe we can get him on the show sometime to tell us some stories about that. All right, let's see if we got any breaking news here. Looks like the stock market has indeed crashed. It's about to be, I guess it's Black Monday right now, according to some text messages I'm getting. So if y'all got money in the stock markets, sorry. Let's take a break real quick. Let's go on and make this up so we can come back and we'll have a little bit longer segment to close the show with. We'll be right back. Welcome back into the Clay Edwards Show. This segment brought to you by our friends over at, how about old Chip Matthews? His show's coming up here next from 9 to 10. Get out to Acme Pizza and Daiquiris tonight. It's Monday night. A little wrestling on tonight. Seems like a good time to order pizza. It's available for delivery, carry out, and, of course, dine in right there at Fannin Mart on the Reservoir at Acme Pizza. They're located directly in front of the bowling alley on that end of Fannin Mart. So really easy to find. And inside there is where you'll find some of the best pizza you'll ever put in your mouth. But, hey, maybe not in the mood for pizza. How about some pasta or just a couple good appetizers? They got mozzarella sticks. Your boy loves some mozzarella sticks. And they, of course, have the dynamite balls, which are absolutely phenomenal. It's pulled pork. It's deep fried, and it's drizzled with some barbecue sauce. You can't go wrong. Give them a try today at Acme Pizza and Daiquiris. That's the dynamite balls. All right, man, let's read a few of your texts. Some of y'all are not happy with me. My line of questioning there. Thought I should have been more aggressive. I got what I wanted out of that. It was a 30,000-foot view of what was going on. So let's see here. Unknown to Reagan says, the crash of 2008 was blamed on W instead of the housing bubble created by Dodd-Frank. Therefore, no matter the facts, this Biden-Harris stock market crash, right? This is absolutely Biden-Harris stock market crash. This is Bidenomics. Hate Harrisnomics. Right here. Man, I was looking on Facebook. A lot of people got hit hard today. People are posting their stock market stuff. It's rough. I don't invest for better or for worse. But seems like a good time to go buy some gold and silver. Rick was on it during the – appreciate all of Rick and Jerry's text during the interview there. I'm just going to kind of start at the beginning of Rick's text here so read the whole thing so it's not out of context. Rick was texting as Tim was talking. He says, so when you lose sight of a suspicious person for 16 minutes, then the show must still go on. What about the pics we have seen of the guy laying on the roof? He says, he also said, not true. The head of Secret Service under oath said the radio comms were not recorded. You know, I do remember hearing that too. So that's interesting. He also said that he said, important, Jill Trump, not political saying from a 30,000-foot view. Why was Trump not assigned a counter sniper team if the distance from the same home office? Yeah. Let's see here. Also, unknown texter says the transcripts won't come out. It was a deep state plot to kill Trump. We will see the Epstein client list before the truth about the assassination plot comes out. Yeah, y'all know me, man. I've never met a conspiracy I didn't like. So, 100% agree. You create. I know I keep saying this, but I think this is way more realistic. Incompetence is a real thing. You create enough incompetence that you can create the situation you want. If you need failure to happen, you can create incompetence for it to happen. I mean, it's passive aggressive. You know, you can argue without arguing. And that's what happened that day. Let's see here. Man, these local news channels really, really think I'm supposed to care about the Olympics. I do not. I did see that the two women who can't pass the chromosome test are the ones fighting it out for the gold medal in boxing. Didn't see that coming. Didn't see that coming. All right, let's see here, man. I was going to do this questionnaire, this immigration questionnaire. It just doesn't seem like good radio. I mean, I guess sometimes none of it seems like good radio. Let's see here. Did y'all see this lady? Let's shift gears. We're all over the place this morning. But this was in my show prep, so I want to hit it. Did y'all see where the mayor of a Louisiana town, rather attractive, blonde, she's in her early 40s, has been arrested for having sex with a juvenile? What is going on with these middle-aged women in these midlife crises where they want to go have sex with illegal, young men, juveniles? Here's the story. WLBT.
Involving DeRidder's former mayor, Misty Roberts Clanton. She's been arrested for rape, allegedly involving a juvenile. Good evening, I'm Cynthia Arsenault. The State Police Special Victims Unit interviewed two juveniles, including the alleged victim. Both confirmed Roberts had sex with the one juvenile while employed as mayor. 42-year-old Roberts is facing 1 count of third-degree rape and 1 count of contributing to the delinquency of juveniles. She's been released on a $75,000 bond. It'll be up to a grand jury to decide if she'll be officially charged. Roberts resigned as mayor just 5 days ago. Her arrest follows a tumultuous week in DeRidder. Roberts said she'd be away from the office for 2 weeks, appointing an interim mayor on Friday. She then resigned Saturday. Attorney Adam Johnson is representing Roberts. He said in a statement, quote, "My client maintains her innocence, and as it stands, she is in fact innocent. She has not been charged with the crime and or convicted of any crime, and we trust the public will respect her constitutional presumption of innocence, which is fundamental to our system of justice," end quote.
What is going on? This is a white people thing too. Every time I turn around, it's some white woman having intercourse with a kid. I'm not trying to understand what's going on. Misties. Boy, there's always some Misties up to no good, aren't they? That's a good old South Jackson name right there. Misty. Anyway, quit this, women. Find one, start checking IDs. Didn't they just pass a law in Louisiana where they can castrate people, rapists? How do you castrate a woman? Anyway, mayor of some small town in Louisiana having sex with a juvenile. And, I was once a former young man. I was once a 17-year-old young man who only thought about one thing. Frankly, sometimes I still only think about one thing. So I'm trying to figure out why the kid would ruin this for himself. Because at the end of the day, this may be an unpopular opinion here. It's a lot harder to rape a man than it is a woman. I'm going to guess. I've never done either. But as a man, there's more things that go into it. You either get ready or you can't. And obviously he could. It sounded like to me he's just running his mouth and somebody got caught. I shouldn't have told his buddy. I'm telling you, man, when you're going to get out there and do some dirt, you don't want no witnesses. Don't tell you. How did the buddy know? How is he privy to knowing that they had sex other than just word of mouth, unless he was there? I don't know. These little stories like this just intrigue me. How did she hone in, think that's the kid right there, that's the one I want? Just the minutia of all of it that led to them thinking this was a good idea. Some people. We'll be right back. Land the plane for the day. Welcome back in to the Clay Edwards Show. Kind of finish the show out here. We got some exclusive audio here. This is Kamala Harris calling Joe Biden to tell him about the stock market crashing today.
We did it, Joe. We did it, Joe.
This is Kamala Harris explaining, more exclusive audio here only on the Clay Edwards Show. This is Kamala Harris explaining what exactly is going on and why this crash happened today.
All that, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone else, that is called Bidenomics. That is called Bidenomics, and we are very proud of Bidenomics.
I bet they are. That is called Bidenomics. Shoot.
We did it, Joe.
I could listen to that all day. It's like nails on a chalkboard. Hi, guys. This has been the Clay Edwards Show. We'll be back at it right here tomorrow. Coming up next, it's the Chip Matthews Experience, followed by Jameson Haygood from 10 to noon. And then Kim Wade will bring home the local shows today from 4 to 6. I'll see you back here tomorrow. ClayEdwardsShow.com for more information.